When we watch science fiction movies, it's always fun to imagine what kind of innovations in technology we'll be able to accomplish for mankind. It's also a great opportunity for us to consider what these innovations may imply for our future and apply these ethical concerns to the technology today. And today, I will be taking a look at the ethical implications of the technology that was used in Back to the Future. The technology that was used in Back to the Future is time travel. In the first movie, the main character, Marty McFly, uses the time machine that Doc Brown built in the back of a DeLorean to travel back to the past. So, in order to discuss some of the ethical implications of time travel, we'll first explore some ethical dilemmas. Next, discuss the social implications. Then we'll relate it to some of the technology that we have today. And finally, we will talk about time travel and social interaction, or just technology similar to time travel and social interaction. So first, let's talk about the main ethical dilemma that arises in the movie Back to the Future. Essentially, the ethical dilemma in Back to the Future is whether or not it is ethical to interact with people in the past as someone who is coming from the future. The movie explores this in two main cases. The first case is with Marty and his parents. When Marty first came to the past, he carelessly talked to both of his parents, and because of his carelessness, his parents never got to meet organically. The plot, therefore, follows him trying to get his parents to meet so he can reset the timeline and save himself and his siblings from being wiped from existence. And I'm going to play a short little clip demonstrating that.
Your mother ever seeing that kid? No, Doc. I guess you felt sorry for him because her dad hit him with the car. Hit me with the car.
That's a Florence Nightingale effect. It happens in hospitals when nurses fall in love with their patients. Go to it, kid.
George, buddy, I have been looking all over for you. You remember me? The guy who saved your life the other day? Oh, yeah, good. There's somebody I'd like you to meet. All right?
Calvin!
So the next case is with Doc Brown's death. The day that Marty travels back to the past, Doc Brown is killed at gunpoint, and Marty, having traveled to the past and meeting him again, wants to save his friend and makes several attempts to inform Doc about the future so he can be prepared, regardless of the fact that Doc Brown does not want to know any information about the future.
What's the meaning of this?
Find out in 30 years!
It's about the future, isn't it? It's information
Wait a minute.
about the future! I warned you about this, kid! The consequences could be disastrous!
Doc, that's a risk you're gonna have to take! Your life depends on it!
No! I refuse to accept the responsibility!
In that case, I'll tell you straight out!
So the movie takes a utility perspective because it implies that the consequences of the actions are the most important thing to consider. After Marty messes with the timeline, he continues to interact with his parents and Doc Brown because it will achieve the best results for the people involved. His actions drastically change the future. However, it's not an issue, or the movie doesn't treat it like an issue because it produces good results for the majority of the people who are involved. So now that we've talked about the ethical dilemma that arises with time travel, let's explore the social implications of time travel. In a world where time travel exists, an ordinary person would be able to use their knowledge of the future to drastically change the trajectory of history. In Back to the Future, we see this play out with the way that Marty's parents behave in the original timeline compared to the new timeline. In the original timeline, George McFly is a very timid man with no backbone against their neighbor Biff. Lorraine McFly is a prudish and apathetic mother. However, because of the way Marty interacted with his parents when they were young, his parents become happier and more successful people. And Biff becomes the one who is timid and afraid. So here's a video demonstrating that.
I just want to know about these things. See, there's Biff out there waxing it right now. Now, Biff, I want to make sure that we get 2 coats of wax this time, not just one. Just finishing up the second coat now. Now, Biff, don't con me.
I'm sorry, Mr. McFly. I meant I was just starting on the second coat.
Yeah, Biff, what a character. Always trying to get away with something. Not Biff ever since high school. Although, if it wasn't for him, we never would have fallen in love.
So adhering to this perspective of utilitarianism, this is a happy ending to the movie, even though Marty had unfairly messed with the course of events to get these results. Now that we've discussed the social implications of time travel, let's discuss how these ethical considerations relate to our current day problems. Obviously, we do not live in a time where time travel is possible. However, with the use of technology, there are still ways where we can sort of clean up our past. For example, there has been a lot of discussion about adding an edit button to certain posts on Twitter or on other social media platforms. And this kind of technology could be used to sort of erase mistakes or things that people have said in order to change their past mistakes and change their past actions. Another example of this is the discussion of whether or not we should cut out offensive stereotypical portrayals in old movies or in media, literature, other things like that. So there's 2 perspectives on this. One is the utilitarianism perspective, which is basically saying that the consequences are more important. So if you get rid of the edit button, then maybe people will be able to produce good results for their own future, and then less offensive things are being said and read. And same can be said with the with deleting stereotypical portrayals in movies. There will be less instances of racially insensitive depictions in media. And then there's the other perspective, which is saying that we can't erase our history by doing these things. So that leads us into the last portion of the presentation, which is my discussion or my argument about technology, ethical practices, and social interaction. So in regard to technology as a way to clean up history, I personally do not agree with the perspective that Back to the Future takes. I think instead of taking a utilitarianism perspective, I would take the perspective of duty. We as humans have a duty to act in a way that is beneficial for the greater good. Therefore, using technology to hide our past mistakes means that we will see less uncomfortable and offensive imagery. However, it will mean that we are erasing the pain and the history of certain demographics and groups. As for social interaction, we can instead use our past as a teaching point and use technology as a way to compile this information and these harmful portrayals to learn from and see the way that history has changed from that point. So this concludes my presentation. I hope you guys were able to see the ethical considerations that were involved in Back to the Future, and also understand how we can apply these considerations to certain issues and topics that are arising from technology today. Thank you.